So as you can probably hear, the kids in the background are super loud, which means everyone is just outside playing like normal. In Berlin, it's a very weird thing. Life is totally going on as normal. When you walk around outside, you couldn't even tell that there is a global pandemic going on, which I'm not sure is the best thing, but at least the spirits are high, and there are people taking some precautions, which is good as well. Trading today was nice. We were kind of back at it again with some nice trading during the stream. The last 3 days, so Friday, Monday, and Tuesday, we did not have any trades on the stream. I was just being way too cautious. The market's been all over the place, and that's why I was a little bit more cautious. Last night we had some trades. I want to talk about those as well today in the trading recap as we go to the charts in a little bit, or the screen's over there. And then yeah, just overall, it's nice to have one trade on the stream. Even though it was one trade, it was an okay 6% profit, but the actual dollar amount was a little bit lower since we used about 30%, or no, even more, about 50% less than my full allocation. So I wanted to reduce a little bit of risk on that trade. Just because I was thinking it would be nice to have 3 trades instead of 2. So let's go ahead and reduce our trade allocation, which I think on average is a good idea, because yesterday in the evening we had that one trade with OPGN. You're going to see in a second here. I got skunked on. It was a nice bounce, but the bounce was weak and it continued pulling off. I closed my position, took my max stop loss at around like 5%, and it was good. We were out of that one. But the next one, boom, 19% profit. And that would have never happened if I only had 2 trades to make. And I know days like today where the market is really in charge and traders looking at the market, not so much individual stocks, which means they're trading the SPY, they're trading the VIX and those things, and maybe not the small caps. And I just want to be a little bit more cautious on days like today, because breakouts aren't as strong, and then pullbacks, who knows what's going to happen. Sometimes they get halted on the way down. Enough talking from me. Let's go to the charts right now. And remember, if you like this content, don't forget to leave a like. And if you're totally new here, definitely consider subscribing. I would love to see you again on a recap video or on a live stream. Time for the charts. I gotta say, there's something about trading today that was just some really, really good fun. I think when I ran the scanner this morning, and obviously it doesn't show up anymore, but we had 27. See, you can see it here, showing 22 of 22. I think at one point it was 27, but when I ran it in the morning, it showed, I think, 17, which was even nicer. Not too many stocks, and it wasn't even, I didn't even really find more than 2 lead gappers. So I'll talk about our lead gappers, IMV and BMRA, one of which we traded and had a nice little bounce on. It was a really nice way to start the day, not having to worry so much about, there's 50 plus stocks on our scanner. There's many different opportunities. I don't really know which one's going to be the lead runner, lead gapper. SPY was pulling off though a little bit aggressively this morning. SPI was down about 7%. So I was a little bit nervous that we were going to get kind of a shaky kind of start. Maybe there was a chance that we were going to get halted again. We did get the halt alert that there was a chance that was going to happen. And right here, when the SPY was down at 235, you can see that was 7% down. So who knows? There was definitely a chance that we were going to open or get halted. And now SPX is down 6%, and that's only 1% away from getting that market-wide halt. So that's kind of what I was nervous for today, but we didn't get it. And since we opened up around -5%, I felt like, okay, here we go. I'm not going to really trade breakouts, but I'm going to get aggressive when I see it, because we have a little bit of wiggle room. I don't think we're going to see a market-wide halt. So the first 15 minutes, let me get aggressive, and let's quickly go to our lead gappers, AMV and BMRA. I said AMV. I meant IMV. I apologize about that. So IMV was pretty cool. If it was first green day, you can see it down here. First green day, it was 100% gap move. So 107%, you could even say. And this pullback was a little strong. It was about 28%. I don't really like the 28% and above, especially past 30%. We were kind of consolidating below VWAP. Not really things I like to look for a lead gapper, but this $3 area was big time support. We had a nice 28% bounce off of $3. And I said this in the beginning of the stream. I was like, I should have traded IMV pre-market at $3. That was like beautiful ticket, but that's not really part of my strategy, so I didn't do it. And trust me, over the long run, it's good to usually follow your strategy. I mean, there's a reason it's your strategy. And this one has been going really, really nicely. We're getting close to that point where we're doubling our account now in a few months. So it's been really good growth. IMV, let's talk about this one. Out of the gates, I stopped watching it. It was just kind of pulling back here. We couldn't break back above 3.5. I wasn't super excited. It had some coronavirus vaccine shift in focus news, but it wasn't really news that would make you jump out of your seat. So I was kind of surprised it was up so much. To me, it was a bit more of a dead cat bounce. But since we pulled all the way, where did we pull? To $4, which is right here. We pulled all the way to $4 pre-market, and then we were kind of selling off, right? So I was like, okay, well, that's a big move, but this 180-day moving average is going to be big support. And that's why I was looking at it. And I had alert here of when we broke $3. I didn't want to get aggressive because we already bounced off of it twice. But as we were kind of trolling lower here and getting into the 78 territory, that's when I just pounced on it. We did hit 64, so I was down about 14 cents a share, which was getting really close to my max. Actually, it was like a few 0.1% above my max stop loss. I was like, ooh, this needs to reverse as soon as possible. I do not want to keep holding this. And luckily, it did reverse. We had a nice little bounce here. I basically closed this position for a 6% profit. And this move was actually quite nice. In 3 candles, we ran up about 15%. So it was a nice move. But, that's why I always say we look for moves at least of 10%, 20%, 30% or more, because our goal is to try to get a chunk of that move. It's really hard to get a perfect exit and a perfect entry. We didn't have a perfect exit and we didn't have a perfect entry, but it was still a nice move. Now, profit-wise, it was a little bit smaller because I used a small position size for it, because I was like, it's going to be probably a little bit more shaky of a day. I don't want to do just 2 trades today. I want to make 3 trades today. So to do that, I have to reduce my trade allocation. And I think that was good, because if I went fully allocated in this one, IMV, I think I would have probably got shaken out down here. The stop loss would have been like, we would have been like -80, -90 at that point. And I would have been like, that's not really what I want to see based on our account size at the moment. So I probably would have closed it out. So that's why I reduce my position size on days that are extra choppy like today. And it was good. It was a little unfortunate that I kind of entered this one too early. I was waiting for a crash. And finally I was like, okay, this bounce is looking like it could happen any moment. But this was a green volume candle at one point, and I entered. I didn't enter it super aggressively, but when I entered a little bit later, it did pull back a bit more. And I was like, come on, that's what I was waiting for. I was waiting for 2.75 to crack a little bit, and then I wanted to jump on the trade. So 2.75 got touched, I don't know, 3 times, and it didn't crack. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go get aggressive because I don't want to miss this move, because I've been missing a lot of moves. And I don't know, this time would have been good to wait, but you just don't know. It's not an exact science. And this time, it was a nice quick trade. The rest of the day, IMV just kind of sold off. It didn't really do too much. I was waiting for a crack of 2.4. I wanted to buy again at around 2.27, 2.25, something like that. But we never really got that, nice sell off. Now it's just no one's watching this anymore. So there goes our kind of one of our lead gappers on the day. Let's check out BMRA. I always want to say BMRH, but it's BMRA. Right here. This was our second lead gapper. First green day. Although you could almost say it's a second green day, but the first green day was more of a bounce. And you can see here what I mean by that. This is a first real green day. This one, the day before, no volume. It's just kind of bouncing off the lows, nothing too significant. Let me quickly go back here. This rally here is just absolutely unprecedented, 38%. I was not expecting that. This thing started to seem like it was going to sell off the rest of the day. But this one had really interesting news. And let's quickly go back here to the chart. They are starting to ship, and somewhere here you can see it. 10-minute test for coronavirus exposure to be priced at $10 a test, which is huge. And they just started shipping this. So that's big news. Not just is coronavirus a big news and a giant global problem, but the fact that you're shipping tests now starting at $10 a test, that's expensive. I mean, we're talking about, I think Korea doing 20,000 tests a day. I mean, these are just big numbers. America's just getting started, but they're undersupplied with everything. BMRA just absolutely ripping right now. We had some big support at 5. I thought we were going to pull back to 5 a bit more aggressively. And then we have a top at 950, 940, 930 or something like that. So it'll be interesting to see if we reach it. this really took a long time to break out. We had this nice initial 1 minute move, and this was about a 18, 19, 20% move. I missed that one because I was like, markets are super red. Are they going to get halted? I was kind of thinking more on the market terms, but then I don't know. I just missed this 1 market break, 1 minute pull, 1 minute breakout from the pre-market highs. It could have been a good trade. I bet you a lot of people, a lot of day traders were waiting for this exact move, and yeah, it was a good one, but I missed it, which is fine. BMRA, again, I was waiting for a bigger pullback below 5.5 all morning. We didn't get it. We tried several times. Here we had the last one. It looks like 5.65 or something like that would have been the pivot zone. So like a lot of people basically front running 5.5 all day. Yeah, I don't know. BMRA could have been a really good one. Was definitely the lead gapper, but again, we kind of missed it. Pre-market had a really, really interesting run up. I mean, this move was like north of 200% at one point, or really, really close to it. So I think when I ran the scanner though this morning around 8:45, I think I ran the scanner for the first time. So that was about 126% move. But then it, had this another third leg to the upside. So pretty wild one there. We also had APRN. We were watching quite a bit this morning. This thing broke past 13, then 14, then 15. Again, I don't think a lot of people were expecting that. APRN, third big green day, huge. With basically no catalyst besides the fact that they do home deliveries for food and more like cooking recipes and stuff like that. To be honest, I'm totally surprised it's had such a crazy run. 13 million shares outstanding, so you can see it here. I don't know. I was not expecting this. I have a limit order a little bit above $10. Maybe we'll get a huge pullback the rest of the day, but I'm not going to be trading anymore. I have some limit orders out. But again, I'm not going to be trading. And the reason I have limit orders out is because like yesterday, we had a really nice trade on WTRH, which also is having a huge run today. Third big green day. They also do a little bit of food, grocery deliveries. Let's quickly go here. Let me pull this to a 5-minute chart actually, and we'll see a little bit better what's going on. Oops, I just went back way too far. So this one, we tried to trade in the morning, but it was choppy. I just couldn't find a good entry or exit on it. It was below $1. I didn't really want to trade it. And then yesterday, we ended up really not getting any trades besides this one scratch, which happened here. I got a partial execution at 54 shares, which is like nothing. I think it was like, it was basically $40-something. We had like 2,000 shares I wanted to actually trade with, and it didn't happen. So I basically closed this position right away. It was actually a 3% profit, this little bounce here. It's really, really hard to see, but it didn't really work out because we didn't get filled. So I was like, you know what? I don't want to wait for it to come back and fill my order because my trade is already over. I wanted to sell quickly on the bounce right here. And so I closed this trade, and this is like null and void. I still documented it in TradeJournal, but there's nothing to really talk about there. This one though, this is what I was waiting for, a big pullback to 0.6, and we got this almost at the near bottom, and I was not online when this happened. I had a leftover limit order trade, which I didn't forget about, but it was just the fact that I was waiting. I didn't know when this is going to happen. And then I checked the market when it was closed, and we were right around here, and I was like, oh no, how did I not check the market a little bit earlier? So I got out of this one pre-market. I did not want to hold it overnight. I don't want to hold really any of these trades overnight. That's not part of my strategy, although I do it in my IRA account quite often, and it can work very nicely. It just, I want to be focusing on the first really 30 minutes of the market open. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to, freeze up cash. So I'm going to close out this trade. This time it would have really, really worked to hold because pre-market ran up like another 38%, and then after hours or after market open, total of like 81+%. So could have been a huge trade, but again, that's not really what we're trying to do here. Right now, we're hitting some big resistance at around 1.5 as well, but really, really cool. OPGN, it was another one we did this setup on OPGN. So these big support line bounces could be very profitable. I typically don't do it with this small account challenge just because I want to be trading. I want to be focusing on that morning. And this is why we also don't do it. Sometimes it doesn't work out. So I was trying to do the same thing here. We had a nice little double bottom. I traded that double bottom. It didn't really work out. We had a little bounce in this area, but it wasn't strong. So I decided to get out right away. Took a little bit of a loss. I think like a 5% loss on this one. And then pulls back. And then even if you got a perfect bounce here, this thing only runs up like 17, 18%. and it's been selling off ever since. So, you know, it can work, but it could also work really against you. And especially these stocks that are on their second, third, fourth green day, they can, like when they lose momentum, these low float stocks, they lose momentum. And then sometimes they go into Neverland. You don't hear from them again. And they get delisted, or the company is, you know, turns out it's fraud or whatever. It's a very risky strategy on these small caps, and a lot of these small caps only have one green day in them, one day where they just absolutely rip, and then it comes out, you know, the real news comes out, or the warrants get exercised, or some really bad stuff happens, and then they sell off. So it could be a good strategy, but if you're, I think, you know, looking to do it, it takes a bit of practice. You know, you want to know what to look for. You want to make sure you check out the history of these charts. You know, is this one of these stocks that has, you know, big gappers, but it doesn't hold its highs, kind of like OPGN? And then does it just constantly sell off? So long-term chart on OPGN is very, very tough. I mean, it's had so many reverse splits that at one point it was priced $2,720. So, you know, you just got to keep that in mind. Very risky stuff. So that's why I typically only trade these in the market open on a first big green day, and I kind of repeat myself over and over again on that one thing alone. But that's why it's so important. And I don't want you guys thinking, okay, you know, like Alex is trading IMV today, I'm going to hold that one overnight, I'm going to sell it for a 200% gain. That might happen 1 out of every, you know, 100 or 200 times. But those other times it doesn't happen, it's going to be very, very painful. So yeah, a little side note there with my dip buying that I've been doing a little bit more because the market has been so shaky. And I generally enjoy dip buying when the market is really undecided like this, because sometimes you get those big spikes down, and you know, buying breakouts is much much harder to do, like we saw today with BMRA. There were so many fake outs, just so many fake outs. So I'm really happy I was not trading BMRA on the breakouts, but you know, here after 11 o'clock, this is around the time I ended my live stream, this thing finally rips, and this is what we were waiting for all day. But you know, we try to buy, I think in this area, I was thinking about it, in this area, vicious pullback, and then here, could have had so many attempts, I don't know. Congrats to anyone who got this huge breakout. This is a beautiful breakout, but it was a hard one to time. And yeah, so about 11 o'clock here, we're done trading. So usually you don't see the big breakouts happening right after 11 o'clock or going into lunchtime. That's very weird. BMRA has just been trading so weird today. And I'll probably go ahead and remove my limit order here. And I'll just do that now. I'll leave the one open for APRN. I have a nice little limit order here near $10. I don't know if we're going to get it, but again, like I said, just, you know, market's a little bit tougher to trade on days like today. So why not be a little bit more conservative? See if you can get some support line bounces. If not, my limit order will cancel, and then I'll have that ready to go to trade tomorrow. So one small trade today with IMV. It was really, really good fun. Entry was a little shaky, but you know, we still were able to have a nice little profit today. So nice little way to end today. Nothing too crazy, but at the same time, it's nice to get one trade on the live stream and just kind of have a little bit of momentum in the right direction. That's everything for this video, guys. Thanks for tuning in again. Don't forget to leave a like if you haven't done so already and enjoy this content. And if you're totally new here, definitely consider subscribing. I'd love to see you again on an upcoming recap video and an upcoming live stream. Just all around, the community is really, really good fun. And yeah, the more it grows, the more we can all learn together. That's everything for this video, guys. I'll see you then next time. Till then, stay safe and make some awesome trades, guys. Ciao, ciao.